Well. Welcome once more, ladies and gentlemen, to your weekly fantasy fix. It is time for talking in the library. There are a few of you today, and I do need to start the show with a big thank you to Stug. First again, $2. Much appreciated, sir. I do appreciate that a lot. Helps pay the bills, helps keep the show on the road. If you have not as of yet, please do like and share the stream. It is a massive help. Boy, aren't I a YouTuber. Well, ladies and gents, if you haven't noticed, over the last couple of weeks, I've been uploading a lot of the Untold Destiny sessions that I've been doing with Dean Variax and Brass. And today, it is the Untold Destiny stream. But before we bring in those guys, who have we got? We have got the mod wife on duty. We have got Mr. Paul Stargasm. Hello, sir. Hello. I believe you are one of Variax's ilk. Got to keep an eye on you. We have got Paladin Steve. Hello, Paladin Steve. We got one of the brothers Bad Toads. Hello. The Drama Goblin is sick. Well, get well soon, Drama Goblin. Jeff from Denkar, as always, good to see you, sir. Mr. Stephen Avery, welcome indeed. And we also have Kyle sitting in the shadows, keeping an eye on us somewhere. Hello, Kyle. Good to see you, my friend. Right, so first, I suppose it's only fitting that I save the. Oh, it's graph paper. Hello, graph paper, and also Ruben. Hello, Ruben. Let's start with a my fellow party members, shall we? So I have been playing the Elven Wizard, the linchpin of the party, their beloved leader, Endurian Starstone. And of course, I am an Invoker Wizard, I'm a Herbalist, a Poison Maker, and a Doctor. So when I create problems, I do tend to fix them, at least try to. And throughout my adventure, I have been joined by the most important member of the party, perhaps. He wasn't supposed to be the meat shield, but he does turn into the meat shield quite often. No, he's just supposed to pick out the path. And that's my friend Corvus. Hello, Variax.
Oh, hello. My invisibility is being dispelled. Hi.
Yeah, hello. Hi. Yes, you failed. I saw you over there in the corner.
Just lurking in the shadows. That's what I do.
How are the arrow wounds?
They're healing. They're healing slowly. The many arrow wounds that I wasn't supposed to be the meat shield, but
Them's the breaks. Sometimes you're in the wrong place at the wrong. All the time you're in the wrong place.
I'm still kicking. Yep.
Stug has said here that when I unlock memberships, the first emote should be Minsk, and okay, Emmy should be the first one. Minsk can be the second one. So which Minsk quote should I go with? I don't know. Go for the eyes, boo. That's really the only Minsk quote that I can get off the top of my head. What about you?
Oh, jump on your sword while you can evil.
Yeah.
While you can evil.
Yeah.
Butt kicking for goodness.
Oh yeah. I need to go back and replay that game. Been too long.
You do.
Right. Still, I actually do have memberships available. I just haven't done anything with them yet. So when you're there up front taking hits,
I'm at the back taking hits.
True. Do you know who should be taking those hits?
I know.
It's this guy. It's Barak, the dwarf.
I do take the hits, and I would like to add that despite tanking the most amount of damage in the game, I'm the only one that has not received a single wound.
Yeah. You don't want to. They suck.
I never will. I'm too powerful.
No, he can. The DM can hear you, right?
Yes.
Well, you're tempting fate, which is a good way of putting it, because the game is called Untold Destiny, and we do have the foreteller of destiny right here.
Hiya, Jack.
Hello, Dean.
Hiya, everyone.
Hello.
Quick, run, hide. He's back. The natural 20s.
Quick before he runs
are coming.
He rolls a quit.
Many crits were rolled last time.
It was just luck of the dice, and it was
very memorable. I liked it.
Luck.
Rick waving his D20s.
$2. So you stayed at a Holiday Inn Express last night? I don't know what. What? Who? I don't get it, Paladin Steve. I apologize. I don't get it. We've got quite a few people watching today, chaps. We've got 17 over here on the YouTube, nearly 20 on Twitter, and we've got 5 over on Rumble. So, you know, don't embarrass yourselves with the stories we're about to tell.
Might embarrass you.
You do that just by showing up. Oh! Anyway, where do we begin? Dean, do you want to begin somewhere for us? What have we been doing?
Well, you've been kind of thrust together as a group. In a rare event, there are 2 moons in the world of Kaseya, the Fox and the Hound. The Fox is a smaller moon, the Hound is slightly bigger. And the Fox moves a little bit slower, so the Hound's always chasing the Fox, but typically never catches it, shoots past, and starts the whole cycle again. Once every 20 years, though, the Hound does catch the Fox. And the 2 align to create a brilliantly bright night. And there is a rare flower, red thorns, blue petals, that blossoms only on that night. So that was all the motivation I needed for someone like Endurian, who loves his herbs, literally loves his herbs. And it was motivation enough for him to get Corveth and Barrick together, and off they went to find a potential hiding of these flowers.
Yes. Getting you 2 to come along, one was easier than the other. So we had both, you both approached my hovel. And Barrick, I just had to say the word money to, and he was all in. Corvus, however, is a bit of a different character. Maybe we should talk a little bit about who we're playing.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. So we'll start with you, Barrick. Barrick. Who are you?
Well,
Who's your
I
character?
am playing Barrick, the Wilderlands warrior dwarf. Basically a barbarian. He's got a big axe and a warhammer that he can't hit with. And he has muscles made of iron. He takes all the damage, and yet he never gets wounded.
Yeah, that's pretty succinct. I don't think anything bad has actually happened to Barrick. No,
He almost got eaten by a flower.
He did almost get eaten by a flower, but we also
lost his boots.
We lost his boots.
He did lose his boots.
Yes, that is
He
true.
can afford to buy some new ones now.
Devastating.
But we did blow him up.
I've got that as well in my notes. Yes.
Oh, you took notes. You put far more effort into this.
I got
than
little bullet points.
I tend to try and go by memory, and it always fails me. I should probably learn to take some notes. Hello, Daniel, Driving and Dragons Daniel. Hello, sir. Welcome. Long time no speak. Long time no see. Yeah, tell you what. With your little notebook over there, Variax, Corveth. Why don't you tell us who Corveth is?
Who is Corveth? Corveth is he's still alive. He's not a people person. He is a wilderness ranger type, a pathfinder is his background, but he fulfills the rogue kind of slot in the party. He is an archer who strikes from the shadows with his deadly arrows, although mechanically I'm still getting my head around how to properly do that. But I'm getting there. And he's the pathfinder, so he's the one who can track, he can hunt, he can set up camp and keep them hidden, and he guides them through their journey across the wastes.
He's also really adept at soaking up arrows.
No, well, he wouldn't say he's good at it, he just does it.
I mean, you didn't die. I'd say that was a good soaking up of arrows you did there.
Yep.
Then there is I play Endurian Starstone, as I've already said before, something of a mad wizard scientist type character. A son of priests that has left his religion behind to pursue the arcane, and has found himself as an outcast on the edge of Midway, which is this lava town surrounded by lava, and he makes his living by tending the burn wounds of the humans of Midway, and by selling poisons to Corvus, which he makes from herbs that he buys from Barrack, which is where the initial character interaction came from. And indeed, as Dean said, I found the notes of someone Gilliam, someone that came before. I found his journal, and I read in there that somewhere across the flow, across this big bridge, there was a place called the Devil's Crack, and there was likely to be a grand blooming of these flowers as the two moons converged. And so we set off on a 5-day journey there, 5-day journey back. On our first night, on our first night after we did the 2-day trip over the bridge, we camped in a really good spot, because I think you got a crit on finding camp, Variax.
Yeah, that's what I do. It's what I'm adept at. Is I'm the Pathfinder, and the Campfinder as well. So yeah,
and it's a good thing you did.
Thing
you did.
Yes, it was. It was because of the whole encounter during the night, right?
Indeed. So Barrack was the one that took first watch. So maybe Brass wants to weave us a tale.
Well, I climbed a rock that I didn't realize was 40 feet high to begin with.
Everything's tall for you.
I got up there and then I asked... well, that's true, actually. Yeah, it could have been 4 feet high. But I got up there first and then I asked how high it was. And I was like, oh, how am I going to get down from here? And while I was up there, I saw a marching band of goblins. And in Dean's world, goblins look like frogs. There were some pink frogs and there were some blue frogs. And as much as I was cautious, I was like, should we tackle these? This could be difficult. Once I got down there and they walked past our camp and they had all the ranged goblins at the back, I thought, right, we could ambush them right now, take out the ranged archers before they even know what hit them, and slaughter them all like a true dwarven barbarian. And instead, the wizard, I assume it was Jack, I can't remember, was the first one to say no to that idea.
No, I did.
Corvith was the first one to say no to that idea. The rogue, of all people, I suppose.
Makes
with all
sense.
this rogue discourse going on, I guess rogues are useless in combat. But then the wizard agreed.
Yeah, well, the reason was, that Corvith is a survivor, right? He knows the dangers of the land, and he knows there's a 10-day journey ahead of us. So engaging a goblin war party or whatever they were in the first night when we haven't been seen, he's thinking, well, we have to preserve ourselves and avoid trouble as much as possible.
This is true, Corvith, but unfortunately those survival instincts were wrong, because if we'd taken him out there, you never would have got 4 crits against you in a row and nearly died.
I was going to ask about that. I don't know how you want to do this, but
if we want to jump around a bit, it's fine.
Because that was in the first session. In the last session, the third session, we met those goblins again, and they were backed up by an orc because they were like scouts who eventually picked up our track, and we had to fight them. So I was wondering from Dean, what difference it would have made if we had attacked and killed them there. If we'd have wiped them out, or if one had escaped. What difference would that have made in the third session when we met them again, or not? I guess.
Yeah, if you'd taken out the scouting goblins at that point, the lava hopper that I did the introduction to in the third session would still be happy. He'd be returning to his family and his children. He wouldn't have been shot through the neck. And well, what they neglect to say is that there are signs everywhere, and they went to the northern tower, and there's a big sign talking about bounties. Goblins, you get 5 pennies for every pair of goblin thumbs you bring back, 10 pennies for a pair of orc ears. And underneath it talks about your civic duty. If you see goblins, you either deal with the problem there and there, or you immediately get help, because a group of goblins are normally backed up by orcs somewhere. And if there's a roving warband in the area, it won't be long before they are absolutely decimating farmsteads and the people that wander some of the fairly safe trade routes. So it's everybody's civic duty to keep the civilized land safe. So if you had acted, you would have had the jump. You had a brilliant campsite set up. You were very hidden. You managed to keep. So Endurian has a donkey called Bill. And the donkey endures Endurian's company. It's fine. But when Bill was getting agitated by having goblins so close, Corveth used his beast handling skill, and I believe you got another crit.
I got high. Yeah, I got high.
Your dice abandoned you after
you got very, very high. It was fantastic, and Bill has now taken a real, has got a real attachment to
my donkey now.
So Corveth managed to keep Bill quiet. So you had the perfect opportunity to launch your own ambush. They couldn't have done anything for the first round. It would have given you ample time to run in. And Endurian, you would have probably realized a bit earlier that you had to buy Bill and thus couldn't get your only
AoE we'll get to that.
At this level.
I'm sensing some salt.
Yes. Where the story would have gone, who knows? You didn't take that path. I didn't have to run it through. So I can't tell you. All I do is paint the world. You react to what you have in front of you, and then I decide how that changes that world.
So we let the goblins go, and then that had knock-on effects, let's say. But I will hasten to point out, this was Endurian's first real foray into the wild, like off a road. And so he wasn't sure of himself so much. So now he's had a few fights under his belt. He quite enjoys, blasting things. But, he's like, I'm going to just stay quiet over here and not draw attention to myself. And Corvus is his guide, and he's going, yes, we should be quiet. And Endurian's going, okay. Whatever you say, Pathfinder.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that Corvus had any... Because Corvus hasn't been in the wilds with you either. So while Barak looks like a fierce fighter, you're the guy who makes potions.
I am.
So yeah, I'm thinking in my head probably 2 versus 6, even with the jump. Probably not the way to go, especially with the journey ahead of us, and
yep.
We've got a time limit and all that kind of stuff. So that's the reasoning.
Do we think we could have taken them though? Because they gave us a bit of trouble at level 3, and we were level 1.
Easily, because we had a nice party meal that I cooked and gave us all temporary hit points, which ended up going to waste, and we would have had to jump on them. It would have been easy.
Possibly.
When you look at it, between first level and third level, you gained a few more hit points. Otherwise, your combat skills were pretty much the same. The biggest difference being Endurian, you had tier 2 spells at that point, and you had access to Fireball.
Aye.
But when the goblins attacked, they were fairly spread out, other than the ones that... and we're jumping ahead
so let's continue down the road, as it were. Because after we had that camp, Barrett cooked us another really hearty breakfast.
I rolled a nat 20 on my cooking check and cooked the most banger meal anyone's ever tasted. And no, I'm a dwarf that cooks, but I didn't get the idea from Dungeon Meshi. I've only watched one episode of that.
I've not watched any of it.
But I ended up with like 28 temporary hit points.
And on the back of that was Corveth going out when you made camp and managing to succeed at catching some fresh meat with trapping.
That's true, we got to give Corveth
this plays into the kind of downtime mechanic you've got. When you make a camp, you can all kind of do a bit of a downtime activity. I believe Endurian, you used that a bit later on to quickly knock up some poisons.
Yes, and then we...
unfortunately...
We ran into enemies that were immune to poison.
Well, strangely enough, the only ones that you could have poisoned were the ones you took down fairly quickly. So
so
yes. But what kind of creatures would inhabit an old ruin?
Golems and things
Brash
that aren't
dragons.
biological. Yeah. But no, seriously, carrying on down the road is a good thing we had those temporary hit points because they Variax spent them very quickly. Corvus, you were in the lead.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to explain to the nice people what occurred?
Well, it wasn't entirely like intended, but before we left off, one of the things you said to us was that if we gather them together, you'll be able to wipe them with basically AoE, right? That's what you said.
I said that, yeah.
Well, we were attacked by I think it was like 4 direhounds or something, shadow wolfy things,
Smog hounds.
Who, and what's something we've found in the system is that enemies move very quickly.
Oh yeah, we always get caught out by that.
Yes, so I was, and before I knew it, I've got 2 or 3 of them around me, but I'm like, the mage said, get them together and you can wipe them out.
Oh
and then
yeah.
Came the issue that instead of getting that, you got a donkey.
I will admit, I forgot that I had to give up a spell because I paid money for that spell in order to afford everything. Let me grab something quickly because in case. Whoa! Thank you for that, YouTube. So I have been creating these little shorts around these. So I thought, hey, let's go ahead and watch one quickly, shall we? Here we go.
I've grouped them together, wizard. I have grouped them together.
I think I'm missing a spell.
Remember, you had to trade in one that you were buying.
Okay, so
because you didn't have
It's
enough
true.
money.
I can't AoE them, guys.
Oh no! Well, I'm going over there.
At the start.
I couldn't afford the donkey and the fire spell. Right?
Oh, okay. So as long as you don't have to carry your own stuff,
That's exactly right. I roleplay.
I can get you into death by wolf.
Oh boy. I hope that
We're a reaction channel now.
Yeah. Oh look, it's brass.
Oh, there I am. You're reacting to me now.
But yes, I forgot.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think it's I've got an encumbrance system, which I've always liked encumbrance, but I've never liked the heavy bookkeeping. So with Untold Destiny, the encumbrance is pretty much what's the big stuff you're carrying. So at a glance, you can count your encumbrance. If it's below your strength or below, you're likely loaded. If it's above your strength, you're heavily loaded. And we found very early on that Endurian doesn't have a great deal of strength. And when he was selecting his gear and spending his starting money, that encumbrance quickly disappeared and became heavily loaded. So a donkey was essential. And it's every group I have run a mini campaign for, they have bought at least one pack animal, if not 2, because of this ruling. And no one's complained at too much maths or too much counting on the encumbrance system. So I think it works well.
It does work very well. It made me make a very harsh choice, which resulted in Corvus being torn apart by wolves.
I got better.
Yeah.
Almost torn apart by wolves.
He's only mostly dead. And mostly dead is a little bit alive.
I managed to charge in there. I cleaved them all down. They all died.
That was a good turn.
In one turn. I saved
it was
everyone.
heroic.
And took no damage.
And Corvus was a bit upset.
That's because I'd taken all the damage.
No, as in Corvus was in character upset with Endurian.
Yes.
So,
yes.
And Variax was out of character upset with me.
That was still my best role play. That was bloody useless.
This was also the first combat session where Jack did this recurring thing with his wizard of being out in this really open, wide open space where the enemies can move really far and really fast, and deciding to stand as far away from the tank as possible so that anything could just walk straight around me and go straight for you, and I do nothing about it.
In my defense, as Variax has said, we didn't realize how mobile everything was in this system.
It's just the first time this happens, okay?
Okay, yeah, it's the first time. There's multiple instances of this happening. Okay, so we dispatch the wolves, the small hounds, and we find the Devil's Crack. We'll just skip past a bit where we leave Bill outside somewhere safe. We go in, and what do we find, Dean?
You find what you're after. The cavern walls, floors were covered in vines. The vines had these red thorns and a beautiful, massive flower in the middle of this cavern. The lava had receded with the uniting of the fox and the hound, and the conditions were perfect. And the blue petals, it was open. The smell, it had all this pollen around it. Yeah, this is what you're after.
And after messing around with the roots for a bit, what happened to you, Brass?
Look, they were busy wasting time chopping up roots. We weren't here for the roots. We were here for the flowers with the red thorns. And they were up on top of this big flower and right in the middle. And they were here chopping away at roots and collecting sap. Like, what is the point in that? So I was like, I'm climbing the flower. And then next thing I know, it turned out to be a Venus flytrap.
Shock.
Shunk. Variax, you launched a rescue attempt.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the two of you working together, you were quite successful as I valiantly sketched the flower and collected samples.
I got the dwarf out while you watched and drew.
You didn't get his shoes though, did you?
No.
You're gonna buy him a new pair of shoes?
He made an effort. Then I initiated PvP against the wizard. And
I got pushed out the way. Yes,
we had to move the scene on because everyone knew I was going to win.
I wouldn't be so sure. I got a little bit shunted, but then I cast Detect Aether, which is this world's detect magic, and I found out, hey, this isn't actually the flowers. This is defense. This is a fake flower. This is what it puts out for defense. Oh, we also found the remains of that guy that wrote about the flowers in that flower as well. And then we go around the corner. I use my magic to break down a wall, and we find... I'll let Dean explain.
You find a metal structure, a big solid metal door, strange symbols upon it. The lock looks alien. The door itself is jammed within its frame. But it looks like a good, something to get in there and jimmy it would bring the door down. But these vines all come from underneath the door. So you found, hopefully, where this plant lives or has come from in this strange complex. These complexes are quite not well known, but they are known to have existed before an event that's called the Ashfall, where the world was radically changed and magic became incredibly alive. And Jack, just so you know, it was Harold Glimbane.
I wasn't too far off.
The explorer who went after. No, not at all. And you found his corpse, but you didn't bring it back for his family or anything like that.
Well. Endurian's not that kind of character.
I'm sure one day you'll make an account and one of his ancestors will probably see it and go, "Oh, that's what happened to my granddad."
Yes. So we go into this pre-Ashfall room, which is very sci-fi metal corridors. Just one thing leads to another, and we find ourselves in another combat. And it was these golem things. And while so I have another clip.
I think I know what it's going to be.
Yeah, it's over on Twitter this time. Here we are. Hopefully there's sound for this. You'll let me know if there isn't. 16 damage!
Oh, jeez. You can see it seize up. Its chest begins to flash, and then there's the surge of power and a sudden explosion.
Oh, am I getting hit by this?
Yes, 7/8 the damage.
That's fine. I'll take that.
So I'm going to move there, shoot this.
The arrow strikes, so deal damage. And with that, It is brought to zero. You see as the arrow strikes, there's a surge of power. It then disrupts the part of the
Oh no!
and there's an explosion.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Barrett,
Rick!
Barrett doesn't even. He never saw the
Trying
other
to
one
help.
explode, so he doesn't know.
Okay, 5 eighth of damage.
He's down.
Barrick, you're down to -3 again.
He completely
Yeah.
forgot about the explosion. So yeah, they explode. Someone did comment on YouTube saying they explode now. They explode now.
You cut the
They've
best part of that, right? So I was on 1 HP when that explosion hit me. Do you know how much HP I was on afterwards? 1.
I had to get it into a YouTube short length.
I kept recovering. That was a fight where I discovered my great recovery ability, where I spend stamina to regain hit points, equivalent to the stamina. Oh no, hang on. I can't remember how it works. But either way,
Celeste, easily.
either way, every time I was going down below 0, which happened like 3 times in a row that combat, I was sat there on 1 to 2 HP the whole time. And even every time, spend a stamina, I regain 4 hit points. It's a good thing everything was hitting me for like 3, 4, 5 HP. I ended that fight with 1 HP and 0 stamina.
Close.
Thankfully, the fight finished.
Yeah,
at that point.
I
think
might
if
not
there'd
have
been
been
another
able to go another
construct,
round.
it would have been a very different story. But that's it. You're a Wilderland warrior. You took the great fortitude bonus feature to create that kind of unique character. So this isn't something that all Wilderland warriors get. This is something that you customized into your character.
I wanted to be a wall of hit
and
points,
we saw
and
it.
it worked.
Absolutely. You're designed to take the punishment and keep standing. And I love it.
So there was another thing, which I haven't clipped yet, but I do intend to. It's getting these videos like edited down and clipped and going through all the sound and trying to make sure it doesn't give someone a migraine when everything moves. I'm editing in Clipchamp because I'm too cheap to buy proper editing software. So it takes a lot of work to make these.
You do a good job.
But there was an incident after this fight where I met my mortal nemesis.
Is it gravity?
It was Gravity.
Oh.
We came across a grate in the ground, and these two idiots, with their perception skills and investigation skills,
Athletics, ability to physically do stuff.
Didn't see the trap. I saw the trap. I then proceeded to fall into the trap. And yeah, I think you went down first, quite easily, Variax.
Yeah.
We tied a rope. You went down.
Yeah.
Easy.
Anyone could do it.
Excuse me. I believe I rolled a natural 1, attempting to get down.
No,
there.
that was when you were climbing out.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's when
That
you
was
were
the
climbing
second
out.
time that I fell down the hole. Okay.
That was so. The grate, the complex had these grates in the floor, and underneath there was a series of corridors. There had been a cave in, so the machinery that drove the air conditioning of the area was inaccessible. But effectively, this is where all the air conditioning happens. Air comes up through the grate. One of these grates was very rusty, about to collapse, and this is the one that Endurian saw, warned the others before they could fall down it. So, Scale Surface, which is a great rogue ability. Over he went, down to the bottom, secured a rope, no problems at all. Barrick also had a Scale Surface skill, and he went down, not a problem. Endurian thought, there's a rope, I can just heft myself across. Now, we have discussed earlier that Endurian doesn't have a great deal of strength. And I asked for an athletics check just to make sure he's got strength to be able to hold the rope and then slowly lower himself down. And we discovered he doesn't. And he went tumbling down. It was only 30 feet, but to give you to give you an understanding, 30 feet, if you fell in real life 30 feet, that's one hell of a bump you're going to land with. And we've tried to mimic falling damages as much as we can. If you ever fall more than 100 feet or more, unless you get really lucky, your character's dead. It lands with a splat and there's no coming back. So yes, Endurian, how did that feel?
I landed on my full belly. And that was where I lost my temporary hit points, because I think I took something like 40 damage, which hurt.
You were lucky you made the falling check, so you landed not on your head or in a dangerous position. So, and you had a hearty meal inside you, so it was more
Barrack's
your pride.
cooking saved both Variax
Does that make you
and
fall
myself.
faster?
I don't know. It means
it
I reached terminal velocity quicker, I suppose. So I should probably have taken more damage. Yeah. But no, I luckily got away without a wound. So all good. No wound, just a bit of a bump. That's not a problem at all. Until we started just trying to explore what was around the area. And we found that what was around the area was the need to climb up another 30-foot grate. Yeah. Which these guys did easily.
Easy.
So I was up
In the
there
dark.
straight away.
We
No
haven't.
problem at all.
Right, we need to
Still easy.
put out here. This was all done in the pitch black, apart from my light source.
I even left pittons in the war for you. And the rope.
I can't
couldn't
cast
possibly
Featherfall
fail.
Connect. I'm an invocation wizard. They do not have access to Featherfall.
Slowfall, our equivalent, is a tier 4 spell, so it's only accessible by the powerful casters, and it is abjuration magic, which invokers cannot cast.
But I do cast some mean fireballs.
Oh yeah.
So these guys, they go up, and I know Corvus stays behind. Barrett goes up, leaving handholds for me. I critically fail. I roll a natural 1 on the climb. And Dean has great fun going, oh, you're going really well. It's really easy. You've got the hang of this, and you're falling. And this time, I do make the falling check, but I do land badly. I do receive a nasty bump to the head, which was a wound, which means I was then moving negative 10 feet and also had a malice to things at that stage. I think that's changed now. So, yeah. I then had to get Corvus and Barrack to basically hoist me up by tying the rope around me.
Yeah. Corvus did try to leap across and grab you before you fell, but he wasn't quite.
My heart honestly wasn't in it. I was like, Shan! Nah.
It was, I better do this.
I'll make an effort. No,
it all goes in here, Variax.
And of course, Endurian felt, a natural one. I'm not even making any progress, but critical fumbles are an important part of Untold Destiny, because you get to roll multiple dice the more skilled you are. So if you're not skilled at doing something, it's 1 dice. You got a 5% chance of critically fumbling. If you've got 2 dice, it's a hell of a lot less. So being completely untrained, the critical fumble came up, and Jack was like, "Oh, I barely get a foot off the ground," and I'm like, "No. A critical fumble means the worst possible result happens. You get almost to the top, and then you fall the 30 feet back down again."
Ow. So then, we had to then create like a pulley system to get me up, which Corvus had to do in the dark because I was his light source.
Still easy.
Oh, it's Vicky. No Featherfall, Untold Destiny, slow fall to higher level. Yes, indeed. Indeed. Yeah. So, and after that, it was we found ourselves in a wide chamber. We completely glossed over finding the guy's portrait and the like,
yeah.
but it's not really a content gold mine. It's more plot heavy. But we found some, archaeological discoveries. And we got into a wide chamber with 2 doors, one to the north, one to the east. The east was obviously where the flowers were.
Let's remember that statement, yeah.
And I believe it was me that said, should we not check the northern door first to make sure we're not going to have anything come through and attack us?
And I was like, nope, let's not go north, because it's clearly the other way.
Yep, and that was then followed by the dwarf going north.
Mm-hmm.
What did you find behind the door to the north, Barrack?
Well, I found some beautiful mithril bars that were clearly not lying there with a kind of trap going on. In this
Clearly
big
wasn't a wide
big empty
room.
room with nothing in it, and they were right on the other side of the room, just sat there. 7 pounds of mithril, and I'm a dwarf, so I'm looking at that thinking, yeah.
They were peeking out of the rubble. Half the room had collapsed, and you were seeing the bits of mithril bars that had survived. So yeah, absolutely no problems
Absolutely.
getting there.
Anyway, so then some gargoyles appeared, right as Corvith was standing in the best possible position to tank the damage from the gargoyles.
You're welcome.
Which allowed me to get to the mithril bars safely. So I appreciate that, Corvith. Rogues are very useful.
Makes the dream work. Yeah.
By this point, I had the ability to AoE though, so it was, this time
it worked. Yes, this time it was better.
Oh man, This is another instance of we didn't realize how mobile things could be. Because these things were a ways away. And they were just on you like that. And I think you got like a really low initiative roll.
Mm-hmm.
No, you had gone first because you used hidden shadows to become completely invisible, made a good roll.
I should have stopped there.
They couldn't see you. They knew where you last were. You should have moved. You should have moved back into safety, but instead you took you thought, I'm invisible. This is a great chance to shoot and deal some damage. And if I remember rightly, I think they dodged or they parried your arrow out the way, and then you became visible again, and you were stuck in the middle of the room. And you made the first move. So Barrick, who was going a lot slower, wasn't a target. Endurian, you hadn't acted yet, and the gargoyles just descended on you. We have 12-second rounds, which means the basic movement of all races and most creatures is 50 feet, apart from dwarves. Dwarves have 40-foot movement, a little bit stubbier, but they can't be slowed unless their movement's brought down to zero.
Might I quickly interrupt? Because there's someone in chat that I want to give a special hello to. Celeste arrived a little bit later, but hi Celeste. I do apologize if this comes across as something that embarrassing Goblona, but Expired Goblona is in the chat. She is a fantastic artist. If you are not following Expired Goblona on X, you are really doing yourself a disservice. She recently awoke something for Argonians in me, and I'm not sure how I feel about that, but really do go and check out her art. It's fantastic stuff. It really is fantastic stuff. Sorry, Dean, continue.
Oh, it's okay. It's absolutely okay. So 12-second rounds, 50-foot movement as standard, which means within one round, you can cover a lot of distance. There are only two things you can do during your turn, though. It's an action and a swift action. So if you decide you're moving, it leaves you your action left. Swift action can be a lot of other things like using hidden shadows. So tactically, you have to really think about what you're doing that turn, because you might think, I want to do this, and then I want to do that. But doing all of that pins you to the spot and removes your mobility. Meanwhile, a creature, it has to only move 50 feet. It can attack or can move and then do a charge into you, which the gargoyles did. So they could cover a great deal of distance. They did charging attacks. Their horns were brutal. And it wasn't a good experience, and shows the if you're not thinking tactically during a combat encounter, things can swing one round to the next. 1 minute you think you're doing well, the next minute lucky rolls or the creatures do something blinding, and you could be on the back foot thinking, oh my god, I'm having to make system shock rolls to prevent myself gaining wounds. Corvith found himself in that position, having to make a system shock roll, being brought down to 0 hit points. How did that go, Corvith?
It could have been better.
You don't have to be so casual, so
blase.
That
was your near-death experience.
If I remember rightly, it was a natural one came up
Probably.
or something.
I've rolled a lot of them.
Yeah, and 2 wounds.
I definitely got 2 wounds from that.
Was
yeah,
it was 2.
Gone and 2 wounds. Yeah.
I think after the session, we had quite an in-depth discussion about our positioning tactics after that, which we then completely forgot about the next session and repeated the same mistakes.
Wasn't quite the same.
No, I think this is where we need to bring mechanics in a little bit. But before we do, we're coming up to the hour, and I think that talking about the knife's edge of combat that is in Untold Destiny might take up a little bit of time. So I'm going to do this bit now because we've got an all right amount of people listening. Chaps, chapettes, the Jack Pack. Thank you very much for being here, firstly. Please do like, subscribe, share the stream because it helps enormously. Super chats and rumble rants also help enormously. But we have something of an announcement to make. Gentlemen, would you want to give me a little drum roll? Oh God, don't do that. Stop. I regret it.
You asked for it.
And because we have the creator of Untold Destiny, the foreteller of Destiny himself with us, Dean, would you like to do the little announcement now?
Of a certain guest we will be having on
Indeed.
the show. Yes, Runesmith has taken up my offer to appear on one of the sessions as a guest. I'll be going through character creation with them next week, and then we'll be scheduling in when he will be appearing. But I think that's fantastic. He seems excited about it, and I'm looking forward to taking him through what Untold Destiny is about, from character creation to playing a session as a guest appearance. He will be playing a very interesting class, one that can be difficult to play well, but can be very effective, and that is a summon.
I half expected him to be
So
Bill.
he will be using summon.
I half
creatures.
expected him to be Bill. Like just
Bill.
Bill stands up and it was a druid the whole time. But no, I don't know about you guys, Brass, Variax, but I'm looking quite forward to having him join us for an adventure.
Yeah, I watched his videos for a while, and hopefully he can smith me some runes.
Yeah. It's a fantastic opportunity for Untold Destiny, though. That is why we're doing this stream, is because this is about Untold Destiny. So, chaps, chapettes, if you have not yet followed Every Games over on the Twitter machine, there is the account. If you have not followed yet Dean over on the Twitter machine, there is the account. And of course, I will do more links at the end of the show. But this is about an incredible product so far, which is now entered just tweak stages. So it's nearly done, and we're having an absolute blast with it. And part of that blast is the combat.
Literally.
What are your feelings on the combat coming from 5th edition, Chris?
So, my only experience with TTRPG is 5th edition, other than like a 3.5 one shot and a 4E half shot. I think Untold Destiny captures that feeling of first tier 5E gameplay, which is 1 to 5, quite well, in that the combat is very back and forth. You have to, like, we were utilizing our environment. Positioning's very important. Anything could overwhelm you. I do actually feel like, to an extent, we are tankier in Untold Destiny, but this is coming from the perspective of the Immortal Dwarf, than in 5e. Because I find in 5e there are more things, especially like level 1 to 3, that will just outright one-shot you. Goblin crit you, over, done. But in Untold Destiny, I feel like it's very balanced, because when you're fighting monsters, it feels like you're fighting another party of adventurers, right? You've got your own skills, you have your own stamina resources that you're using, and that's another thing, is the monsters are a bit tankier as well in this. Like, I've got a Great Axe, it still takes me about 3 hits to kill a goblin, roughly, maybe 2. But every time you're killing a monster, every time you're damaging a monster and they're trying to defend themselves, you are eating into their stamina. And there's a system that Dean's got where once you kill one monster, you roll morale damage, and that eats into the stamina pool of all the monsters. So if you've got a load of monsters, you might look at that in 5e and go, oh shit, this is going to take 4 hours. But in Untold Destiny, you only have to kill a few of them before the rest start breaking and they start running away. And I really like that. I love the stamina system because you can stack things on top of each other. You've got multiple ways to defend yourself. Being the barbarian of the group, I'm more likely to succeed at bracing against an attack, which means I take half the damage. But you can also try to dodge or parry, which I'm slightly better at parrying. I'm also quite good at dodging because I'm short. But those will dodge the attack entirely, you take no damage, but I have less chance of succeeding those, so it's a bit more of a risk-reward. So bracing is just safer when I'm on high HP. Everything costs stamina. But also when I'm attacking, one of the things I like to do is I'll run in, I will charge to move the extra distance, because I'm a dwarf, I need that extra distance. And then I'll do
very
something
dangerous over short
like
distances.
a cleaving attack, so I can hit 2 things at the same time with 1 attack roll. And then I can also spend another stamina on top of that to add extra damage to that attack. So yeah, I'm eating into my stamina resources quite heavily, but I'm stacking damage, I'm stacking attacks, and I'm literally cleaving through enemies. And it's kind of fun.
It's a double-edged sword, though, because that stamina you no longer have for defense, and when it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah, it encourages you to use your stamina, which is it's the more important resource even than HP, especially if you've got great fortitude. But yeah, it encourages you to use that really well. And I like the fact that as a martial class, as a barbarian, basically, wilderness warrior, I feel like I have so many more things I can do than if I was playing a barbarian or a fighter or even a paladin to an extent in 5e. At lower levels, because again, there is that I want to cleave, I want to add this to it, I want to do a charge attack, I want to leap over here, I want to do all these things, and it's great. Honestly, it's Let's move on. Someone else.
Yeah, we'll go straight to Variax because he's up there with you.
Yeah, well, a lot of what Brad said, obviously.
Yeah. You don't really have more of a video game background than a tabletop background.
Yes, yeah, I do. Yeah, but it's very easy to get your head around in terms of like the resource management with the stamina. It is very intuitive, and it gives you options in combat, most of which I forget. But you can do quite a lot of things and say stack things and try this ability or that ability depending on the situation you're in, and. Something that I like as well, it's very easy to measure like the odds. Like it's very easy to get your head around what option is best at the time. Should I dodge? Should I parry? Should I brace? So those are the 3 things you can do when you get attacked. And it's easy to figure out which is best. And you do have a choice because some cost more stamina, some will reduce damage, some will take it all away if it succeeds. Otherwise, you take it all. So. It's very easy it's very intuitive in that way. And something I also like is that I don't think there'll be a point. It's obviously we're quite early into it, but I think even if we're like 10th level or whatever, I still think that basic enemies will still be a challenge because it's not like they're never going to hit you and never going to be able to hurt you, because you still have to react to that, and if you don't, you'll still take damage. And so there's never I don't think there'll ever be a point where anything you can just like forget about and not worry about, because everything has the capacity to hurt you and hurt you quite badly, which I like as well.
I think what we could probably and I agree entirely with the both of you, I think what we can probably sum this up as is combat is fluid and reactive. You don't statically take a turn and then you get hit a lot of times. Every attack made against but every attack made against you, you have the ability to try and mitigate.
Yeah.
So it feels better than to just be, oh, Dean just rolled 2 nat 20s against me. In your case, Variax, and now I'm just dead. No, you could dodge and
you can do things on the enemy's turn. Is what you're saying. Yeah. So
I think I think you two have basically spoken for me in the strengths of the combat system. Dean, as the DM running it for us, though, might have a little cap to put on that, and then we will get back on with the story.
Yeah. What I will say, there's a lot of nuance in how your defenses can be utilized. So if you've only got a melee weapon and you want to parry, you can only parry other melee weapons. If you've got a shield, you can now parry missile weapons that come in. Small shields, better at parrying melee attacks. A bigger shield, better at parrying a missile attack. On top of that, if you need to make a saving throw that has your reflex bonus, in other words, it can be avoided, and you've got a big shield, you get a bonus to that saving throw. So you've got all these layers of decisions when you make your character that gives them strengths and weaknesses. If you're hit with the spell attack, the only thing you can do there is either brace, try and get your armor in the way to absorb some of that spell, or you've got to dodge, leap out the way. Holding your shield up does nothing. That fire orb's going to hit the shield, go over the shield, and will continue to burn you. So it's these, you can create a character that's really great at dodging, but there will be certain creatures that can't, they'll have an attack you can't dodge for whatever reasons. There'll be large creatures that have the sweeping attack that you can't parry. So just relying on one thing and ignoring all your other defenses is a great way to end you up in trouble. And it's one of the big design decisions we made, is to make sure you had this kind of nuance in combat where it wasn't a one size fits all. And realism was really at the heart to a point. You got to gamify things to make them enjoyable. But I had a lot of inspiration from films I've watched, from some of the games I played, and I wanted to bring that kind of feeling into this tabletop game.
So there's a question that's just caught my eye in chat from Daniel, who's a YouTuber at Driving and Dragons. How many dice rolls are involved in these combat exchanges? Quite a few, but not as many as you might imagine. The DC for most of these is either beat the roll that the monster has made, or the monster has to beat your roll, or it's just 20. Like, pretty much every DC in this game is 20. I was confused by that when I first heard it as well, but it really does work quite nicely. If you're interested, Daniel, I have clipped combat encounters on my channel where it is just a combat encounter. I would suggest watching the one with the automaton, so we actually know a little bit more about what we're doing. And you can see how just really nice and smooth it feels to be a target, respond to what you're being targeted by, and it goes quite quick. So I will leave that one there. In fact, we have here one of the brothers, Bad Toads. He is also, along with his brother, creating Mages, Mercs, and Monsters, which we've had on the show before. So he's taking an interest in this as a designer as well, I think, Dean. Perhaps the two of you having a chat. He's in the Tittle Discord server. Perhaps you two should have a chat at some point. You might find that edifying. But for now, after we patch the rogue up a little bit, we finally go and get ourselves some petals. And I'll let Dean describe the blue flower, red thorn scenario.
Yep. So entering the large chamber, beautiful mosaic floor. It was once probably a very grand looking room. The roof, nothing now but onyx rock, where it is caved in, bits of glass still remaining about the place. But it was filled with vines, large red thorns, and loads of these blue flowers. None that looked like that they could trap you anymore. So it looked like they'd found the heart of this plant, and the blue petals. Oh, if they can harvest these, this is a plant that no one really understands, and they could be worth a lot of florins.
We didn't mention that it was about...
I think you're muted.
Yeah, I muted myself. We didn't mention that it was about 100 florins, which is this universe's gold piece. We didn't mention that 100 florins per pound of petals we could bring back, did we? So, yeah, this is some pricey stuff. Oh, and we did get that, was it 7 pounds of mithril as well that Barrett got?
Oh yeah.
So we came out of this quite quite loaded with loot. Jack McCarthy is in chat, and it is indeed a bunch of goblin haters. In fact, while we're here, let me just check. Variax,
Hello.
what should be done with a goblin?
Nothing good.
There you go. You're going on his list. Brass?
Goblin Slayer was a really good anime.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so I have here 2 more people for my order of goblin slayers that I am building.
Also, my first ever D&D character really, really hated goblins.
Oh yeah, and what was his name?
Varric with a V.
Yes, goblins have no place. It is indeed a bunch of goblin haters. Where was I? Oh, there you go. There's another one for you.
You were collecting petals.
We were collecting petals, and then the plant decided to attack us.
Yeah,
because of course it did.
Parts of it kind of detached, came running in. I think Corvith, you were the so when there's a chance of surprise, we have an awareness saving throw, and I think everybody made theirs except for you,
surprisingly, it's
so you were surprised the first round.
Yeah. I think at this stage, Corvus was a bit fed up, and he'd gone into this room. He hadn't seen anything amiss, so when Endurian said, "Okay, we can start harvesting the petals," that's what he did. He just went to get on with it because he just wanted to get out of here, type thing, and didn't notice that basically it was coming alive.
It didn't like being cut.
So no, it did not. Of the 3 combat encounters that were in this complex, even though the numbers were slightly different between them, they were all roughly the same sort of power level. And this was by far the quickest. None of you really lost any hit points. One of you got entangled by vines. And it was all down to the fact that certain weapons have certain properties. So, for example, an axe has the hack keyword. And against certain creatures... Oh, hang on, I got...
Well, that's all right, because while your cat is attacking you...
We're fine.
Paladin Steve, for $2, cries in being put on Goblin Lovers list. Oh, Paladin Steve. Oh, there's still hope for you. Bring us 5 pairs of goblin ears by the end of the night. Carry on, T.
It's okay. So the hack property, certain creatures, so plant-like creatures take extra damage from any weapon that hits them with the hack quality. Also, Endurian had a sort of burning spray spell, a fiery spray, and they take extra damage from fire as well, being wooded creatures. Yeah. So it shows the systems, even creatures have vulnerabilities, and understanding those vulnerabilities and having the right weapons can make a fight far, far easier. Lacking those tools means, creatures are going to last a lot longer. And it leads to, hopefully, if you play the Master at Arms, which is our classic fighter class, you can grandmaster in every single weapon, becoming an absolute expert. And one of the books we're going to be doing is Adversaries and Allies, which on the Allies side, this is more for the players. We'll have in there henchman rules and stuff like that. So you want to take hirelings with you. And cool. I can see, you got this heavily armored Master at Arms. He's looking at the creature, someone's shouting what kind of creature it is because they've got the knowledge and understanding. And he just turns around to his page boy and goes, "Boy, I need," and utters the weapon. And
I love that.
Runs
weapon
back to the
caddy
to quickly grab that weapon.
This really reminds me of like Advanced Dungeons and Dragons 1E and 2E. I like that a lot. But we dispatch the flower things quite easily because we have an advantage on them in terms of you guys have weapon advantages on them. I have fire magic. It was a match made in heaven. And we get the flowers. I carefully navigate my way back down and back up several holes, and we escape. And that was the end of that session. And we're going to fast forward a little bit. Mm-hmm. Oh, yep.
Before we move on, the Elder Maidens made a good
I've
comment
got that pinned. You want to do that now? Sure.
Yeah, we might as well do that now before we talk about the last session. So, is there a way of supporting us? We are working towards another Kickstarter, but before then, we will be doing a complimentary adventure. So, this will involve pre-generated characters and an adventure on at Port Orion. Port Orion is an island. It's off the mainland. One of the great houses has expanded to it, but it's having terrible problems. So, it's put the call out for adventurers to come across, make the journey, and then help get the island tamed. So this adventure will have everything you need to play from a player's perspective, plus a number of pre-generated characters, and then everything someone needs to run the adventure, taking you from first to third level. If you're a part of our Discord server, you will have access to that.
Well, you've mentioned it, so I will get the link.
Play it.
That is the link to the Discord server.
Yep. So this will be your way of really helping us. We will have a lot of stuff on the Discord server. It's only just kind of started, but we will be building it up over time. In there, we've got some stuff regarding Business Unusual, which is another web series we're doing. So yeah, your support is in following us, signing up to our newsletters. And just being there so that when we have this adventure we can give out, you're ready to have a look at it, to give us feedback and let us know what you like, what you don't like. All of this then leading into the first Kickstarter, but we're still pulling that together. One of the things we do is, whilst I got no problems with AI art and I can understand its use, when it comes to our books, we're looking to use real artists and real artwork. We think it just brings the product alive, and that costs a lot of money. So when we do eventually do the Kickstarter, that's where the money's going to be going. It's going to be funding those artists to finish the books and bring them alive. And we've already worked with a number of artists. Shout out to Luke Eidenschink, a black and white artist, so he uses inks, very old school kind of art. Love it. Jamie Noble, he's done some of our creature artwork, so the goblins, and he's done the map. And Jacob Kaiser, who has done some other
something
artwork.
spook the cat.
You heard that. Cats are beginning to get, yeah. Come on. But anyway, so that's your way of supporting us and get the word out. This system is something that I love running, and I hope one day someone will run a game for me to play.
I mean, I've already gone to bed, and a few of my last thoughts as I'm going to sleep is, how would I run this system? So I've enjoyed, honestly, coming from 5th edition, most recently anyway, I'm having a blast. How about you, Brett?
Yeah, it's like sometimes I want to play in a campaign that is knife's edge, it's back and forth, it's gritty, it's down to earth, it's Lord of the Rings adventure, and this system does that incredibly well. Now, obviously 5e or higher levels is a completely different ball game, and if you want to fight 15 dragons and fly around like Superman, I'm not sure if Untold Destiny is going to be that sort of system. But I think if you're looking for something that's back and forth and it's proper like gritty, then yeah, it's a good system.
And of course, Variax is enjoying being stabbed by this, that, and everything else.
Yeah, I mean, I played a little bit of 5th edition, but not much. The game didn't last very long. But yeah, I do like how gritty it is and how hits hurt. So yeah, I'm enjoying it.
I will say, another way of supporting Untold Destiny, this is going to sound incredibly two-faced and selfish of me, is to find people creating content for it already. A la YouTube shorts, clips, and like little fun videos about the game, and taking them to Reddit and other Discord servers. And I realize it sounds like I'm saying, go promote my stuff, but no, really, it builds community around the game. And if you want a grassroots support, because as much as I am obviously now friends with Dean and we talk a lot and we play together a lot, this sort of connection that the elf made between us, this is a grassroots thing. He's not paying me to do any of this. I'm here not just because I like him either, but I'm here because the game is actually worth playing. It's very fun. It's very good. Very well designed. And so if you were to find my content or Dean's content that he's producing himself, but or get other YouTubers such as Roomsmith to check it out and make content about it, you will find that it will do well. And I think that the Untold Destiny's destiny is quite bright. Anyway, let's get back into the swing of story time. Dean opens up session 3 by describing a very happy family situation. The dad goes out as a messenger, a lava hopper that is specially trained to run across open lava fields to carry messages between guard towers and settlements. You missed us answering your question, Emmy. And this man was killed by the same goblin patrol that we let go. Oops, our bad. Corvus advised that I stay silent, so the blame lies with the Pathfinder. And then we started going back, and Variax, we've been making sort of Gimli, Legolas, and Aragorn jokes since session 1, since session 0.
Mm-hmm. Drifted away from that a little bit, haven't we? We've
yes, but you are very much our Aragorn.
Yeah.
How did you find the tracking experience?
Yeah. That was really cool. How there's a skill called tracking in the game that is rolled when you're just checking the land, see if you see anything, and it works very much in the similar way as in Lord of the Rings, where Aragorn finds the site of the battle just outside of Fangorn. And you can retrace things and you can imagine in your head how things have worked and what's happened. And in that, I did find that there was a pack of goblins that looked to be like following us.
Very close by indeed.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there you go. If you need an artist, Dean, Emmy is up for it.
Fantastic. Yes. We will definitely need more than the artists that we've used in the past. So yes, any artists, we make contact if you haven't already, and we'll put you on the list. So thank you, Emmy.
So
thank you.
Goblins, Dean. What
goblins?
They're a bit different for you. So what froglins we've taken to calling them?
Yes. Shall I talk about the birth of goblins? So goblins are a strange concoction that the orcs put together based on taking some of their young, doing a dark ritual, and taking poisonous frogs and blending the two together. In doing so, they created they look like frogs, but they have orcish blood running through them. They constantly drip venom, and this venom can be used to coat weapons. So they have long tongues. They can lick the weapons, coating the weapons with poison, and then use that to either attack or shoot from range. I'm just quickly looking up. Yep, that's it. Sorry, there was a bit of lore here, which is Yayara. I always get this. Why do I
often ask myself the same question.
Yayara is the mother of goblins.
He's like, I need to make this sound Tolkienian, and now I can't remember what the name is.
Exactly. And she's the one who created goblin kind. So they're smaller than orcs. They're a lot more devious, but they're also quite cowardly. And Endurian picked up during the fight and made one decision that changed the outcome of that fight dramatically.
Let's get to that in just a mo, because I have here this. Hello! There they are. The goblins. Froglins. Yeah, they're
they
lovely.
are goblins. Yeah.
I feel like
Little
this is
Vile
going to get me
creatures,
like
horrible things.
a bit of demonetization, but oh well. Do I play the clip now, and then we talk about the fight? I think I play the clip now, and then we talk about the fight. So I only released this today, a couple hours ago, actually. And this is the clip in which Dean really screwed us in terms of his crits. So here we go. Whatever you do,
it's.
Don't let it hit you.
Oh, thanks for the advice. Thanks.
My D6. That's
Oh, of
29.
course.
Was that a crit?
That's a crit.
That was a crit. The boon doesn't matter.
Look, Variax, I was quite clear. Don't let it hit you.
Something leaps from on high, lands right next to you, Endorian, and you see the flash of a dagger strike towards you. Checking. Yeah.
Son of a... Dean! Dean, what are you doing? What are you feeding these things?
I don't know.
How many crits is this?
And send them firing.
I'll be
towards
fine.
you.
There's no way you can do those rolls again.
Don't
No.
let him hit you.
Oh, what? What? Dean? Oh my... What? What is even happening?
It's like a
Can I
dog,
spend a
guys.
fate point to make the DM reroll?
Fault.
Oh god, it's still playing. Okay. Yeah, that was a double crit at the end for those that didn't catch it. 2 nat 20s.
What are the chances?
2.5%. Oh, 1 in 400.
Yes. For anybody watching and wondering why 2 dice are being rolled, the goblins are trained in using their weapons, and if you're trained, you get 2 dice, and you pick the highest. So it's similar to the 5e advantage mechanic. If you're grandmastered, that's the best bonus. You get to roll 3 dice and pick
And
the
it didn't
highest
help
out of
us.
those 3. It didn't help at all. No. And a critical hit, you can't dodge or parry. The only thing you can do is either accept the damage or you brace. You try and bring your armor to bear and protect you.
So that fight, it began with Corvus sort of doing the tracking thing, and he kind of looked up at us, and he said, "It's a trap, all Admiral Akbar." And then the moment he pointed back to say, "We need to go back," an orc steps out, right where we were. Yeah, the fight went a while, about an hour and a bit, as we struggled against these goblins and this one orc, as we got pelted with arrows. Barrick was fighting 3-on-1 the entire time. Bye, Celeste. Yeah, that fight for me was very knife's edge. Not just because of the crits, but because I found myself out of position, and that first round was painful, especially because I got crit twice. I think.
Well,
it was.
I absolutely slaughtered my 3 goblins that I was fighting, but the orc grunt, was kicking my ass a bit. He bit a chunk out of my shoulder for an enormous amount of damage, far more than his spear was doing. Honestly, the orc grunt was that's probably the hardest thing we'd fought up till now, and that's just a grunt.
You could probably tell them about that mechanic now, Dean. Seems like a good segue.
Which one's
orc
that?
Being the key to the fight.
Ah, yes. So the goblins are quite cowardly. If brought below half their stamina pool, they'll bug out the fight. However, if there is at least one orc that is on the battlefield, they fear the orcs so much because the beating they will get for leaving the battle, that they will never retreat. So it was looking pretty bad. Barrick had killed the 3 goblins that he had managed to attract and
I
hold
helped.
at bay. The scouts, however, you absolutely did. And the scouts, one was engaged with you and Durian, which I think you were dealing with at the time, and the other 2 were just peppering Corvith with arrows. And at that point, on your action, Endurian, you came up with a brilliant plan. All the way through this, I've been describing about how the goblins are looking a little bit uncertain, especially as their stamina pool went down. And one glanced behind, but then glanced at the orc and remained steadfast. And Endurian picked up on the clues. And what did you do?
Instead of aiming at the goblin in front of me, I cast my magic missile equivalent, Aether Missile, which is I describe as being ethereal parrying daggers. And because I'm an invocation wizard, I get an extra D10 on one of those. So 3d8 and a D10 went downrange over the goblin's head, straight into the spine and base of the skull of the orc that Barrick was fighting, spraying Barrick in gore, killing the orc, which then sent the others into retreat, allowing Corvus to get some much-needed revenge.
Yeah, I can hit things that are running away from me pretty well. I know,
Stay still, I'm trying to hit you.
Very well.
Yes.
Yeah.
If they're coming towards me or if they're next to me, not a chance. But running away in terror, easy.
Yeah, I think I got a bit overconfident, though, after that fight. Because...
Yeah, you did.
Later down the road, we met another orc. And I'm gonna let someone else... Corvus. Beriax.
Yeah.
You describe what was upon the cliffs.
A big orc on a big dog. A wag, a snarling feral beast.
With a very valuable hide.
Yeah.
That
we didn't take.
Mm.
I don't think we could have.
No, we couldn't skin.
No.
But
yeah, it was
I don't think any of you had leather working,
No.
so you couldn't skin it. You didn't have the tools, but potentially you could have got some foul hide from that creature, which could have made a good suit of leather armor.
Anyway, I bugged out. I ran away with Bill.
Yeah, you did the thing again for the second time, where you're like, I'm going to move as far away from the tanky barbarian as possible. Surely that orc on a warg isn't going to reach me from across the map. And I thought...
But didn't you do something...
Huh?
Sorry, but didn't Endurian do something before he moved back?
Oh, yeah, I tried to use... I have an ability which allows me to spend a stamina point on doing ethereal damage to a target to attempt to knock it prone. And my thought was, if I knock the doggo prone, off comes the orc tumbling down the cliff. It didn't work.
It was close.
Yeah. And he took exception to that.
Yeah, so you pulled aggro.
So anyway, back to you.
And then Corvith was standing there all vulnerable like every other encounter we've ever had. And I thought, well, he's the closest, so maybe the orc can't reach Endurian, and maybe he'll pick off Corvith, because everyone likes to pick off Corvith in these fights. So I took a step to the left to make sure I was next to Corvith. And then Jack, being all the way on his own, which I wouldn't have even been able to run back there to defend him because I only have 40 feet of movement. He'd run so far away that even if I wanted to catch up, I couldn't. Right?
So I want to stress that this means I was I think it was like 140 feet away from this guy.
Didn't
Something
matter.
like that.
Yeah, you were
a
exactly.
very vulnerable target.
Yeah.
And this is like if you've ever played MMOs and you're the tank, and then someone else draws aggro, and instead of luring the mob to you, the tank, they run away with it and die. Well, that was basically what was going on here. As the warg charged straight for you with the orc on top and absolutely eviscerated you. I think he was still alive on like 1 HP or 0 HP or whatever it was. But yeah, good thing you had a teleportation spell.
Well, that's the thing. I have a feature which has since been slightly nerfed at my own recommendation, called Invocation Pulse. And when I had this thing treating me as a chew toy and I was spending stamina to use defensive magic to not die, my panic button was to just nuke myself with a fireball, which did quite a bit. This wasn't the big one, but it did quite a bit and set them both on fire. And my Invocation Pulse allowed me to move, and because Bill was moving with me, him as well, 25 feet away, and then I could move the rest of my movement behind the tank. So, I nearly died, but it was a learning experience. Brass, a learning experience is what that was.
Have you learned them?
I don't know, we'll find out.
Until next time.
And then I ran in there, I charged that orc down, and I cleaved him and his wolf.
Not before. The orc had a long spear, and long spears can be set to receive.
Oh, yeah.
So, of course, Barrett, you came charging in, and he interrupted your action, brought the spear down, managed to get a hit, and you couldn't defend against that. Did you brace? I think you might have braced against that one.
I think I braced. It did a load of damage, sure, but I still managed to get off my action, still cleaved. I powered through the orc's attack, took it like a true manly dwarf. And that orc, it was an orc warrior, and these are supposed to be a lot tougher than the grunt.
Yeah,
honestly, the grunt ended up doing more damage to me. The warrior seemed frightening, but I think because it was just on its own with the warg, and Jack fireballed it.
I did
twice.
25 points of fire damage with that second fireball.
Yeah,
and they were not good at dodging. No,
Corvith was just sniping the rider with his bow, and I was cleaving through animal and beast. Orc is the beast, of course.
Yeah. Only good orc is a dead orc.
Oh, absolutely.
The dog riding the dog.
Yeah. So it was a fairly quick. It could have gone very badly for Endurian, but it shows how numbers play a big part. You had more numbers, and you could take down a bigger threat quicker. And that works the other way around, which was alluded to it earlier in the stream, which is you might be 10th level, you get 3 or 4 hit dice creatures in large numbers, you still got to take them seriously because they can still take you down and they can still ruin your day. And one of the big tests we did was against a large number of lower hit dice creatures, and it was as brutal as I thought it was going to be against a higher level party.
So after that, we succeed, we get back to town, and we're now planning on what we're going to do next. This was supposed to be a 3-session thing. Looks like it's going to be a bit more a 3-session thing, because we've all had so much fun. It was just, do you want to keep playing, guys? Well, yeah, we'll keep playing. We have a question, Dean.
Yeah.
Once more from the Elven Maiden. And guys, if you have questions, do just fire them off. And that is, I have issues with RPGs, especially monster manuals, that they rely on loot tables for loot from monsters instead of having lists of alchemical and crafting supplies. How have you addressed it?
Okay. Creatures typically will have, if it makes sense for them to have gear, they'll have gear. But if a creature, it doesn't make sense. So, for example, the warg won't have any money on it. It won't have anything. But what it does have is a very valuable pelt. So if you've got the right tool, skinning tools, and you've got the right skill, leatherworking, you can spend some time after you've defeated the creature to try and extract, to remove usable bits of leather. With something like a warg, that can give you strips of usable fellhide, and fellhide is considered a +1 material. So you can make leather armors from it, you can make a leather shield, and it's much tougher, much better than normal armors. So this is how we've made sure that creatures, you're not going to find a great deal of loot when you go out adventuring. You're not going to find your huge piles of treasure. You're not going to, come to a lair and find that there are hundreds of thousands of copper coins or anything like that. The economy within the system is quite tight. But where you make your money is through things like making sure you can harvest the creatures you defeat, making sure you can if you have an opportunity. So the two gargoyles, they were creatures of earth, and their remains, you could root through the remains if you had rock hounding tools and I think it's engineering. And in doing so, you could actually get gems out of the creatures, parts of the remain. You can safely extract those gems. So this is where a lot of your money is going to come from. This is where a lot of your wealth is going to come from, in addition to the jobs you take on and what you do. Exploring the ruins, they had to leave a large painting behind, and they probably did the right thing. That painting could get damaged, but they know where it is. And this painting, to the right collector, could be worth many, many florins. So the petals, they're hoping for a big payday on the petals. As it is, I think with everything you used, even with the bounty from the orcs, you probably spent more in the way of supplies and stuff like that than you actually got back from the journey.
There is no doubt that is the case. But, it's starting money. It's supposed to go.
Exactly. However, you did find mithril, and this is where stuff you find, mithril bars, they're already smelted. We have a very simple crafting system. In that you just need to be skilled, you need the materials, you need the time. If you want to speed it up, then you make a skill roll halfway through to see if you can speed it up. You mess that up and everything, you've either got to spend all the time, or if you mess it up enough, everything's wasted. So a little bit of risk versus reward. So whilst you can buy gear, obtaining the raw materials and creating it yourself is the better way of getting yourselves equipped and geared up. And then once you got this gear, if you find an enchantment, being able to enchant that over the gear is your way of turning it into magic gear. So within Untold Destiny, our +1, +2, +3 items, they are based on the material you make the item from. And the enchantment gives you the magical property if you want it to become a magic item.
Nice. I'm looking forward to what we're going to have a chat, you and I, Brass, Beriax and I, perhaps away from the prying ears of the enemy, about what we're actually doing in the downtime. But for now, it's been an hour and 40 minutes or so. It's very warm. I want to go and have a shower because it's very warm. So, chaps, we're going to end on you, Dean, because you've got the most to say plug-wise tonight. Before I do begin to end and wind down, is there anything that you would like to say, Brass, Variax, in particular?
Yeah, well, just one thing that I'd like to compliment Dean on is at the very start, when we got the quest, we didn't get the quest from an NPC. We weren't like sat in a tavern reading a notice board or something like that. One of the characters gave us the quest, so we were already interacting as characters, getting the sort of lower down about the plot, which is really cool. Rather than you've got the plot, now you're on the road, now you talk, which can feel a bit sort of janky and awkward.
Did he give you guys like little adventure primers about things you knew?
Yeah,
because I've noticed we've all told each other stuff about the campaign as it's going.
Yeah.
I knew all about
cool to get the
orcs
quest
and
from you.
goblins.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, that first introductory, I think I kind of got the ball rolling, and then I left it to you three to continue introducing yourselves to each other and getting the quest.
It's been some top-notch roleplay. Like straight away.
Absolutely, you lot are brilliant.
Thank you. But I was more thinking in terms of the ease of which I found getting into Endurian shoes based on how you two have role played and how Dean has narrated. It just makes I find it very easy to riff off all three of you, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like the characters bounce off each other.
It's probably because it's the whole elf, dwarf, human thing.
Yeah, we have a good dynamic. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the system, I try to make sure it doesn't get in the way of role playing. So role play first, and then if there's a skill, you then visit what's needed. The Boon and Bane, we haven't mentioned the Boon and Bane. that is the brilliance behind adjudicating how easy or how difficult something is. And it made my life when making a call so much easier. In fact, the last session we did, I mentioned this to Jack, my goal is to make sure the system doesn't need me to constantly look up rules or anything like that. I had 4 lines of text and the creature stats, and that was the last session I did. I had the maps ready done, but I was ready to react to anything you did. And, you know, at the end you said, oh, you know, probably throwing a spanner in the works by saying we want to go to harbour. Well, no, it's at the end of the session. You give me time to prepare. Do you know what? You want to go to harbour? Let's go to harbour.
Well, in terms of... I shan't. We're running low on time. Brass, anything you would like to say?
Nothing that I've already said. I like the system. It shows good promise. I mean, I haven't played a lot of other TTRPGs, as I said, but every other TTRPG that someone else is making, they don't ever seem to be as polished as what we have with Untold Destiny now. It flows, it functions. So far, I haven't encountered a single glaring problem of balance or flow or anything like that. There's been nothing that I'm like, I really don't like that. Everything is just it's A tier and S tier. There's no F tier going on here.
Good. Well, you've already heard that I like the system a lot. I've been talking about the system all week on X anyway. I'm trying to shill for it as hard as possible. So yeah, all I can really say is continue, Dean. Keep going, because the passion's coming through, and I think it's infected me a little bit because I find myself really enjoying it, and I'm someone that's always just played various versions of D&D. So yeah, I'm very much enjoying Untold Destiny. And at one point, I would love to attempt to run a game for you at some point. And that before I get stuck with the curse of Forever DM once more. I managed to get that off onto Brass once. I don't want it back. Right. Let's start with some shout-outs then. Brass, plug yourself quick.
I'm the Brass Dragon 1 on Twitter, because I'm the only Brass Dragon or whatever. I've actually tweeted a fair bit this week, some controversial takes. Rogues are bad, paladins are good. Stop killing off all of your characters every 5 minutes. It was some controversial. It's that ruffled some jimmies, that one did. They got some angry commenters in that one. I find it quite funny. It's engagement after all.
And Variax, I do believe Ruben is one of yours, yes?
Yes, he is. Yeah.
Oh well,
yeah.
you can run some Untold Destiny for him in your server at some point.
I could do, indeed.
And that leads us nicely into who the hell is Variax?
I am a streamer who might get back into Let's Playing as well at some point. You can find all my stuff at variax.info. But I play a lot of various different games, but a lot of old school RPGs like Morrowind's my favorite, Baldur's Gate. And I try and role play within them and tell stories.
Actually, that does bring up something I was going to ask. Every time we 4 stream together, something comes up and we're like, oh, that does sound like fun. So let's see if this one's the same. Would you 3, because 4 is the max party members in Baldur's Gate 3, should we have a go some Baldur's Gate 3 stream at some point, maybe? That could be fun.
I recently finished it.
Good.
I'd be up for that.
I think that could be fun. People might enjoy that. Other than that, it's my channel. You know who I am. I'm Jack. I'm Endurian, the Lost Law Scholar. I'm the butt of people's jokes and the guy that tries to shill for himself and various people. But rather than shill for myself today, as I'm sure you've already subscribed, I'm going to point you in the direction of something that is, I think, incredibly important. Let me just find it in the highlights here. This Twitter post that I'm linking in chat is to the Elven Maid Inns short story compilation, which we will be working on, that I will be wanting to get myself into as well. So Emmy has been incredibly supportive of me, and I think I definitely need to return the favor. And I do thank the moderators from the Elven Maiden server for coming over and moderating for me tonight, because that has been fantastic. And now, Dean, you probably have much to plug. Do so, sir.
Right, I'm Dean, creator of Untold Destiny, along with my wife Vicky. You might have seen her in the chat. So please follow me on Twitter. Follow Evereye Games on Twitter. That's the company that we have set up to hopefully eventually publish Untold Destiny. We also have a Facebook page. Follow us on there. And we got a Discord server. So the Discord server's just up and running. Yeah, we're hoping to start getting it populated, and I'll have inside tracks. I'll answer questions, and it will be a place you can track the progress of the game. And as we get close to releasing the complimentary adventure for you to actually get your hands on, it'll all be discussed through the Discord server, and you'll get access that way. We have a website. At the bottom of the page on the website, the main landing page, there is a place you can sign up to our newsletter, which goes out next week on a monthly basis. So, sign up to the newsletter, and it's all about Untold Destiny, as well as then a lot of the other collaboration work that we do, and some side stuff. So thank you so much, Jack. I really do appreciate the honor of being able to do this, and I hope to take the three of you on an incredible journey as you explore Kaseya and the dangers within that world.
Aye, an incredible journey it will be. You up for it, lads?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we need to go. It's getting late, and over here in Old Blighty, it is time for us to go to bed. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining. Do like, subscribe, share the stream, watch a few of my other videos. Go check out all the links in the chat. It's been a very healthy audience. Thank you for the super chats, those who sent them, and have a very good evening. Say bye-bye, chaps.
Bye-bye.